Hello everybody and welcome back to the Albion News Gaming channel, and today this is the first episode of a brand new podcast. Now I did do a podcast earlier, well not earlier but I have done a podcast in the past. This is the Albion This Week podcast. This is a West Brom podcast, just talking about the latest news that have gone on in the week. So our first topic was quite big news that broke out around sometime last week, and that's Jenkins has left his post as chief executive after 18 years at the club, 12 years in the Premier League, and 6 years in the Championship. You've got to say he's done a good job. 12 years in the Premier League is good. We've stayed in there, but there's been some ups and downs in there. There's been times where we've done well under Jenkins and times where we haven't done well under Jenkins. Under Jenkins we had an 8th place finish under Lukaku, and that was some good times. But he guided us back to the Premier League, and that's what we all needed. That's what needed to happen. And he has left his post for the new financial director known as Ken. Best of luck to him. I'm sure he will do just as good a job as Jenkins did. And then Joseph Massey, the main West Brom reporter, has done an interview with Jenkins. Very interesting. I give it a read. But the thing he said in that is that we won't have the budget that the fans expect us to have. Now on Twitter, you see some fans expecting us to have 20 million. Some fans expecting us to have hundreds of millions. So we don't know how much we really do have. He said we won't be in the same league as Norwich, Sheffield United and Villa, but Dowling said we will be spending more than Norwich and more than the bracket of Sheffield United. So we don't really know. I mean, we're not going to just go about shouting how much budget we've got, because that'd be a crazy thing to do. Because then clubs could say, well, if you've got more budget than you're letting off, we want more money for that player. And in other news this week, John Percy revealed that Kieran Gibbs, Oliver Burke and Kenneth Zohore will most likely be leaving the club this summer. Zohore and Burke we kind of expected to maybe leave because the moves haven't really worked out. Gibbs wasn't so obvious, but he's played very well for us in his time here, but he's injury prone, and that's kind of hampered his career really. So I think kind of the basis of is we probably want to go for Anthony Robinson. I can see that happening. And we probably want either Townsend or Gibbs as our backup. And we probably thought, if Gibbs gets an injury and Robinson gets an injury, we might not have a left back. And Gibbs is more likely to pick up an injury than Connor Townsend. So I think that was the thinking for that. It'd be interesting to see where all of those three go. I can see them all going abroad, maybe, even though. Burke's Scottish and Gibbs is English, and you don't really see many players from England or Scotland really abroad, but I can definitely see them getting moves to another country. Because I'm not sure. I think Gibbs's wages will be high, so unless he wants to take a wage cut to maybe come into the Championship, same with Oliver Burke and Zohore, really. I mean, I think if Zohore were to play a full Championship season, I think he still would score about 8 to 9 goals, but it didn't work out. The only move that really worked out of the players I mentioned was Kieran Gibbs. Sam Field and Jonathan Lecco could also be leaving. I don't know if it's specified if it was on loan or not. I would want to loan them out for another season of the Championship because they both did reasonably well, but they on loan at Charlton, but it kind of got hampered by injuries. In other news, Rico Richards has signed a brand new contract at the club. Good news for the club. Good youngster. Good to have a lot of youngsters at the club. Finn Azaz has also gone loan to Cheltenham. So maybe we could loan Rico Richards out to a League 1, League 2 side and maybe might have a good season. You could almost see him go to Solihull Moors with them having Jimmy Shan as manager, and I think, he'll know some of the players. Maybe Doncaster, because Darren Moore also knows some of the players as well. Maybe even Lincoln, because Appleton knows some of the players. Now, in the same article that reported Gibbs, Burke and Zohore leaving, they said that we might be going for Krivinovic in on loan. That, I think, is a good move for us because I would say, I would guess this is an option to buy if we're in the Premier League, or maybe an obligation to buy if we're in the Premier League. I think it's good that we're loaning him in because we've not. He played well against West Ham. He played well against Newcastle in the FA Cup this season, but he's not had a full season in the Premier. He's never played really in the Premier League before, and he didn't set the world alight in the Championship like Pereira did. So I think a loan would be good, and I can see him playing well in the Premier League. He's got kind of that ability that you can see fitting well in the Premier League, really. And I said this earlier, and according to a few of Massey's tweets, he said he's acknowledged that we're interested in Anthony Robinson. I mean, Massey's still yet to put an article out saying we're interested in this player. But a few months back, he put an article about Anthony Robinson in, and Nixon said that we've been in for a long time. So, and with Wigan being relegated now, that means that his relegation release clause is higher, is activated, will be able to be activated. Also, what I heard from Joseph Massey, reliable source, is that Robinson's release clause will be higher than the reported 1.5 million. It'll still be cheap, but it'll be a bit higher. So that's interesting because I didn't really know that. I thought it was 1.5 million. So interesting there. Now, in another little bit of a thing that's gone on, you may have seen a fake Joseph Massey account. Of course, Joseph Massey is our main reporter. I've talked about him a lot in the podcast because he's a good source for news. Definitely follow him on Twitter. He's almost at 10,000. But there was a fake Messi account saying that we were linked, that we had agreed personal terms with Mislav Orsic. Now this got me excited. I got excited last year by a fake Percy account saying we're for Gale. Yeah, it's got me again, but yeah, that was embarrassing. If you see a bit of news, check it's the right account, because you don't look completely stupid, do you? I did. I mean, you probably are sensible enough to know that already. Now, I think this time, I think it was a week ago, around this week, it was quite recently, the new away kit had been released. We've kept green and yellow stripes as our kind of alternate kit for the last for the last 3 seasons now, and I think it made sense to have it this year. Of course, the 18 to 19 was inspired by this 78-79 kit. Last season's kit, it was really nice, but that wasn't actually inspired by anything. Although it might have been inspired by the 0102 kits, I think a bit. But this season's this, I thought we might not have green and yellow again, but the fact we've gone for the barcode kit and we had green and yellow for a barcode kit, then yeah, then it kind of made sense to have the green and yellow stripes again. And lastly, the third kit hasn't been released yet. A few people think we might go for red and yellow, barcode. I don't think we will, because I don't think it will be allowed with the Premier League. I don't think they'll want us to have. I think it'll be too similar. So I think we're likely to maybe get Puma, just a kind of normal Puma kit. If you look at a lot of Puma kits, they've had hexagons. I think they're called hexagons, something like that, on the kit. So I think we'll have a kit with that kind of design. Anyway, that is it for today's episode of Albion This Week. I hope you enjoyed listening to this. It's a little bit of a covering just what has happened with West Bromwich Albion. Make sure to like, share and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 50 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you would subscribe, it'd be greatly appreciated. You'd be an amazing person. And thank you for listening. See you in the next one. Goodbye.